King Island Community Radio and Television. Now, in winter time, would you come to Tasmania? Would you even come to King Island? It can be cold, it can be windy, it can be wet, it can be snowy. Is there actually anything to do in Tasmania and on King Island? Now, I'm not an expert, but let's talk with Gabriella Conti, because she's from West by Northwest and knows all the ins and outs of why we should come to Tasmania and King Island this time of the year. Gabriella, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Wade. Great to be here.
Why would I come to Tasmania and King Island in winter, Gabriella? I want to stay in Cairns where I can surf and where it's nice and warm.
Well, you did say snow. So snow in King Island, that would be a first. But, winter is all about rugging up, putting on your beanies, putting on your gumboots, your big puffy jacket, and embracing the weather. We have been running the off-season campaign for the past 5 years, and people are flocking to Tasmania and wanting to really immerse themselves within the community, within cultural events, and get a really great opportunity of what Tassie has to offer. Tassie is the best time of the year, I think, travelling to Tasmania in winter, being able to have a whiskey near the campfire, enjoying truffles, having s'mores. You're just exposed to the elements, and that's especially why King Island is a great place to be over the winter. Where else can you stand up and get blown away with 80-kilometre winds, being immersed within those, the waves right at the edge, and being able to tuck away inside in front of a fire. So, Tassie is definitely the place to be over the winter period.
Now, you talk about 5 years now running this program, promoting Tasmania and King Island in winter time. Have we got any results? Do we see numbers? Do we see increase of tourism?
Yeah, so we have seen an increase of tourism of people wanting to come to Tassie over the winter, and that's their choice of time when they want to come to Tassie is in winter. You don't have, the flock of tourism visitors around. You get to immerse yourself out in the landscapes. A lot of people come down for stargazing as well. Just think if you were based in Sydney in an apartment, and when you go outside to get your gelato at night time, you look up, all you see is street lights. But when you arrive to Tasmania, you take your first couple of steps off the plane, the fresh air that you breathe, and then at night time looking up and seeing a sky full of stars. That's something really special that a lot of people don't get to experience on a day-to-day basis. So people are coming down, they are immersing themselves.
Do you think that it has been for a long time, when you look at promotion marketing around the country, around the nation, and even around in our regions, that Tasmania has actually always been a little bit sort of in the back? It was never that obvious. No, most people, Tasmania, yeah, cool climate, it's not where you usually go for a holiday.
Well, it's definitely changed, hasn't it, with people wanting to come to Tassie over that winter period. And that's why we're really diving into events. So we know people want to do experiences when they go on holidays. So in the past, I was at the Destination Australia conference at the start of this year, and they were saying that people are now doing between 12 and 22 experiences. People are being captured to come to a destination through events, and that's a really powerful way to market your destination. So Dark Mofo has done such an amazing job for Tasmania in opening up Tassie over the winter period. I've been working with our tourism operators and coming together about how we can get people out and about and exploring our backyard over winter. So we've been lucky enough to contract Alex Moss, who's a very talented artist, and he has pulled together 5 projections, sound and light projections, across our region. So we've just had one, which was in Strawn last week, over the Strawn solstice weekend. Next week, this weekend coming up, we have one in Queenstown, followed by one in Wynyard at the Table Cape Lighthouse. And then we're over to King Island, which we're really excited about, and Alex is going to talk a bit more about that a bit later on. And then we've got our last one in Penguin, and it's going to be projected on the United Penguin Church. So we hope to see locals and visitors come out and experience these amazing light shows. And we've been working with our tourism operators to put on little activations around these free events. So for an example, I know we're here talking about King Island, but a really great one that's around Penguin is at the caves. They've organised a local Indigenous, and he's going to go down there and play on his didgeridoo and people can immerse themselves in the caves listening to the didgeridoo, and really get a unique experience that you normally wouldn't get if you come to Tasmania in the summer months. So lots happening, and we hope to see, lots of community people out and about and visitors coming to our region to experience the West Coast, Northwest and King Island.
Well, I don't think you could do a better promotion, Gabriella. And you actually did already the announcement for me, so let's bring him in, Alex Moss. Alex, welcome.
Yes, hello. Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us a little, before we tell about this beautiful show, Alex, tell us a bit about yourself. We don't really know you, so what do you do? Who are you?
Yeah, so I sort of started the journey in making these types of things when I did a course through SAE, which was an audio production course. During that time, I ended up getting hired as a supervisor and eventually teaching that degree. And then while I was teaching, I spent countless hours getting more and more obsessed with using projection mapping alongside audio to create kind of immersive and interactive experiences. So I love connecting sound and visuals together. To me, they're equally important. Sometimes the sound part gets forgotten, but that's actually where I started with all this. And then I also love the interactive element, which means that people can be more of an active participant as opposed to a passive, just sort of observer in these things. So I work across, I've sort of just pushed really hard because it's the thing I love doing, and I've ended up getting myself in a position where I've now done this kind of thing in lots of different contexts, including theatre, interactive installations, festivals, galleries, and lots of community projects as well. I've worked with schools and other sort of community things. So that's a little bit about where I come from with all this stuff. And then just to sort of talk on the back of what Gabby had said about the winter thing in Tasmania. So I used to live in Tasmania about 20 years ago for a while. And then I moved away to study and had a real pull to sort of come back one day. And we chose to come back in winter because we wanted to make sure that we could still handle it and that it was, we weren't going to be kidding ourselves. And we just had such an amazing time. We played in the snow. We went to various events. There were lots of free things on, and we were super impressed when we came back how much there was going on in winter. And so when this opportunity came up, I was really excited because it connected so many things that I just really love, which are being out, connecting with nature and wilderness and the remote communities. It brought my combination of sound and projection experience together. And it was for a cause which I had benefited from and still do previously. So it really just felt like a project made for me.
So are you like, can I say you're an artist or you're a technician or you're an artist with a technician sort of background?
Yeah, look, a bit of both. I suppose my degree was both creative and technical, and I have some skills in both those areas, but I wouldn't want to be just doing the technical. So although I kind of spent a bit of time doing like sound engineering stuff and did a little bit of live sound, what I really love is being the person who actually connects with communities and audiences and does the creative side of it. So I'm really thankful in this project that there's actually other people taking care of the technical side. But there's a huge advantage in understanding that side of it as well, because you can speak the language and anticipate how things are going to turn out and what could go wrong and all that sort of thing. So a bit of both, but these days I like to do the creative work mostly. And it's not necessarily something new, like this stuff has been done, but it's nice to bring, you know, these types of things to these remote communities. That's, to me, what's a little bit more unique. You know, you might see this stuff in Sydney or Melbourne or any other cities, but you don't usually see something of this kind of scale happening in Strahan or Queenstown or even King Island.
Now, the exhibition is called Seeing, and then See with EA. Here on the island on the 17th and the 18th of July from 5:30. What do people gonna see? You can say, yeah, you see a light at the lighthouse of King Island with maybe some colours, but give us a bit of an insight.
Yeah. So I can explain it, but I know that every time I do this, no one really knows until they see it. So I'll just, you know, put that out there first. But we're going to light up the lighthouse. So we'll have a big projector projecting that can cover the lighthouse. And because of its unusual shape, it's a very tall and narrow thing with a sort of web-like support structure around it. There's not a lot of surface. So I decided to go with more abstract kind of light, sound, patterns, colors, as opposed to like recognizable video of things. So the lighthouse itself is going to be turned into essentially a gigantic instrument, a playable instrument. So there'll be like an iPad interface with a bunch of different buttons. And as people tap the buttons, different parts of the lighthouse will animate, light up and move around. And so it turns out there are 15 segments that go in threes, up and up and up in this support structure. Each one of them is a different note in a musical scale. So you can't get it wrong. You play any combination of notes and they all sound good together. And then the central column has other animations inside it, which are made of things like particles and glowing lights and stuff like that. And then there's also an underlying soundscape going on. So if no one's playing it, you'll still see and hear something. But when the audience are there, they can interact with it and they can play melodies and they can actually learn patterns and things. So people who are interested will spend some time sort of going, oh, if I, do this or that pattern, I get this little melody and it lights up that part of the scene. So that's one part, that's the lighthouse. Then on the lens room, I've got an entirely different setup where there will be a camera set up that can see the audience, so people are moving around. And then those people's movement will go through a system I've made on the computer that takes that camera input and generates visuals using some interesting real-time artificial intelligence techniques. So essentially people's silhouettes and movement will be transformed into things like waves and seaweed and rocks and oceans and other things of the island.
Can I say, Alex, to our listeners, viewers and whatever, it's like, people, you don't want to miss this because this is probably something you've never seen and heard before, is it? Yeah,
totally. And especially somewhere, like King Island or any kind of more remote place, it is a kind of unique combination of things that I've been inspired by or been interested in. But I think the key is the setting, like I for all the places I've gone there, with the only purpose is to just immerse myself in the place. I hope that people come and check it out, and I'm really interested to see how they respond.
We thank you very much for your time and being with us. And see you soon.
Thanks for having me. See you out there.
Now back to you, Gabriella. It's not only the Seeing exhibition. There's quite a few things happening on that 17th and 18th of July here on King Island, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. So on the Thursday, the 17th, it is the official opening of the hub. So we invite the community visitors to come down to the hub. It will be open from 5:30, and there's a couple of things that you can do down in the harbour. So the seeing light sound projection will be starting at 6:30 because we need it to be pitch black to really immerse for visitors and the community to immerse themselves within the show. We have the weathering exhibition that's open at the King Island Gallery. At the hub, there is also Fathom, which is it's a projection and sound experience inspired by Katakee, which 10 Days on the Island curated back in 2021. And also the King Island Museum will be open as well. So there's plenty of things happening up there. The Airport Cafe and King Highland Brew House are also going to have a pop-up at the hub as well with drinks for sales. So we encourage, the community to come along, support the opening of the hub and really get a great insight of what this seeing light, the interactive light, sound and light show, what it is about. So we're really excited to be able to bring that to the King Island community and encourage visitors to jump on and get on board. If you would like to find more information out about it, we do encourage you to jump on to the kingisland.org.au/off-season, where there is a list of different events that are happening on the 17th and the 18th of July.
Well, by the sound of it, if I was a tourist and listening or watching this, Gabriella, I'd probably think I needed definitely a fortnight on King Island to see and do it all.
Absolutely. And then you'll want to move there.
We thank you very much for your time, Gabriella Conti.
Thanks so much, Wade. Cheers.